Love bombing is dangerous, especially when an avoidant attacher does it. But it's dangerous when anybody does it. The person being love bombed gets flooded with oxytocin. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. It helps you really feel good and it helps you bond to another person because human beings are naturally bonding creatures. You're getting flooded with all of this attention, affection, adoration, and love, causing oxytocin to go off like crazy in your brain. And guess what? You are bonding to someone before you really know them. You are bonding to them too soon, before they've even gotten the chance to really reveal to you who they are. And when you're getting flooded with that oxytocin, it is so easy to mentally commit. This is my person. This is the person that I've been looking for. This is the love of my life. I'm all in. And then when they begin to withdraw their love and affection and the relationship turns unhealthy, you're still holding on, hoping that the love bombing version of them returns. But it rarely ever does. And in most cases, it absolutely does not. Avoidance will love bomb because this is a person that is a people pleaser, first and foremost. They grew up seeking external validation, attention from others. That's how they learned to feel good about themselves. This stems from consistent childhood emotional neglect. This is the person that was on the receiving end of that neglect. Their parents or caretakers did not give them the emotional nurturing that they needed, often growing up in households where you don't talk about feelings. And their feelings weren't welcome. If they had emotions, it was shot down. So they learned that emotions aren't safe. Vulnerability isn't safe. So they suppress emotions and spend a lifetime suppressing emotions. But when they met their parents or caretakers' expectations, then they got love and affection. So it taught them that in order to be validated and to get attention and to be good enough, you have to make other people happy. So they become people pleasers. And they are definitely people pleasing their partner when they're love bombing them. They're giving their partner what they think their partner wants to see to get that validation in return. Also, the avoidant has spent a lifetime bottling up and suppressing emotions. Suppressing. Early on in the relationship, dopamine is going off in the brain of both partners. Dopamine is the reward hormone. It's what causes infatuation. So the avoidant is also feeling infatuation. They are feeling great. They're on cloud nine. And that dopamine is suppressing all of their insecurities because they're feeling so good. And because they're feeling good, they're letting a lifetime of bottled up emotions flow out onto their partner. And they think that they found the right person too. They're all in mentally. But when those dopamine levels come down as the honeymoon phase ends, usually 4 to 8 months in, that oxytocin isn't there for the avoidant, but it's definitely there for the person that's been love bombed. So the person that's been love bombed is still attached. And the avoidant, now that the dopamine wave is coming down, their insecurities come to the surface. And that's really all that's left. And they begin to pull away. They're not able to follow through with the love bombing. The love bombing may not be maliciously intended by the avoidant. It is malicious in a sense from a narcissist or someone like that. But from an avoidant, they genuinely mean it at the time, but they're not able to follow through with it. But in general, with most avoidant attachers, not all love bomb, but with most, the amount of attention, affection, praise, time, effort that they put in early in a relationship really doesn't match the amount of time they have invested into this person. But it can feel really good to be on the receiving end of. And as they pull away and fade and disconnect emotionally from the relationship, it's so easy for the person that was love bombed to hold on and hold on and hold on, holding little to no boundaries in the hope that the early version of the avoidant comes back. But that early version was dopamine fueled. That early version was masking their insecurities. It wasn't the entirety of who they are. And unless they do some deep inner work, therapy, heal those attachment wounds, and learn a change in behavior, that version will never come back no matter how hard you love them. And this is why love bombing is so dangerous, because it hooks you in. And the avoidant, well, they're not a narcissist. So they're not giving off the narcissistic vibes. It doesn't quite seem over the top. It feels genuine because in a sense, it is genuine with the avoidant. They just don't have the capability to follow through with it. With a narcissist, on the other hand, it's not genuine. It's a manipulation. It is essentially a transaction. They're love bombing you to get the attention from you. And it does feel fake in a sense from a narcissist. Quite often, not always. But with the avoidant, it feels so real. And especially if somebody's been love bombed by a narcissist before, they're looking out for that. But they're not getting the narcissistic vibes from the avoidant because the avoidant isn't a narcissist. So, if you've been love bombed by an avoidant, you know how painful it is to have that love withdrawn. It is grueling. This is why it's so important to hold boundaries early on. If a person is giving you more attention and affection than really seems appropriate early on, best thing you can do is pump the brakes and say, hey, I've really been enjoying getting to know you, but I've learned from experience that rushing things too quickly, it leads to failure. So why don't we do this the right way and pace it and really get to know each other? If this is a person that's healthy, if this is a person that can respect your boundaries and wants to show up for you, they will respect your wishes. If they run away because you held a boundary, or if they ignore your boundary, big red flag that this is a person who's emotionally unavailable that's love bombing you. If it's just genuine interest and they got swept up in it, they'll respect your boundaries. If it's love bombing, they're going to struggle with your boundaries. Because a person that's emotionally unavailable, who tend to be love bombers, they really fail to empathize with the other person. They approach a relationship with a what's in it for me attitude. And you pumping the brakes on love bombing doesn't really jive with the what's in it for me attitude. And they're probably going to run for the hills, get upset, or just push and push and push anyway. Which is all the more reason to hold that boundary, because you're going to find out what this person's true intention is, most likely, when you hold that boundary. And love bombing from avoidance can come in various different forms. It might be from verbal affection, where they're just telling you that nobody's ever made them feel the way that you made them feel, that you are just so special and they've never met someone like you. Or they might do big trips or taking you on super grand vacations early on. They might just be spending all their time with you. They might advance the relationship really quickly and put a label on it, or they might not. But either way, it is some sort of validation and affection that feels so good, but in a sense, so good that it doesn't necessarily always 100% feel true. And if you have a gut feeling about that, don't blindly follow your gut, but your gut is your intuition, which is your subconscious, which is a big database. It's of every human interaction you've ever had. It has memories that you don't even consciously remember. So if your gut is telling you something, pay attention and investigate it. Don't blindly follow it, but investigate it, because if it feels too good to be true, there's a chance that it is, and it's worth investigating. Don't ignore your gut. Pay attention to it. Hold boundaries, and don't fall prey to love bombing that'll ultimately break your heart.